Earlier this month, multiple women accused César Chávez of child sexual abuse and rape in the New York Times.
That moment was difficult. I think it still is very difficult. Confusing, very confusing, worrisome, concerning. It's just, I don't know, I just feel like without words, right?
For Maria Figueroa, the following week felt like an eternity.
It's very difficult to articulate, because I think many of us are still very much in our emotions, and I point to my heart because it feels conflicted on so many levels.
Figueroa is a professor and a leader in local Chicano and Latino organizations.
Ultimately, we need to question why we uphold particular heroes and icons, and I think we do so because colonialism, and genocide, and did a number on us, right? It attempted to erase us.
Figueroa says elevating icons like Chávez was a way to survive that erasure. To say, aquí estamos y no nos vamos. To carve out space for themselves culturally and physically.
I know statues are covered now, or, busts are being, chipped away, and murals are being painted over and or covered, and so very, very swiftly.
She says people are doing what they need to do to respond to the situation. And it's a painful loss for a community that fought so hard to win representation in the first place. The response to the allegations has been swift. Schools and streets are being renamed across the country. California renamed today Farmworkers Day. Chávez's face is rapidly disappearing from public spaces. But Figueroa says the community's processing is slow.
Our culture is very different, I think we just need time for pause and reflection.
She says that pause and reflection is not to disregard the survivors, but to figure out how to hold their stories in a way that honors them, something that will take longer than a week. Monica Hernandez shared a similar sentiment. She's the new executive director of the Chicano Park Museum and Cultural Center.
Because we take the time to try and think collectively, that's why, it's a slower process. And particularly in this instance, there are going to be long-term wide-range implications for our community, and that's why we feel the need for us to move in a very nuanced kind of way.
White-dominated modern media isn't built for that kind of processing. Reporters call immediately. They need quotes now for a story today.
We're being asked to sit in front of a camera, right, to think out loud things that we are still trying to process internally, right, that are conversations that I haven't even had the time to have with myself, because particularly with communities that go through so many things that, we've experienced so much trauma, we're marginalized, underrepresented. On a day-to-day, we are already existing in a level of survival mode. And then we have these moments of crisis where we're expected to drop everything to address that. And so it puts us in this really tough place, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually.
And while consequences for Chávez's legacy have been swift, she doesn't see the same consequences for other men.
We have an ongoing problem against violence against women, regardless of race, regardless of ethnicity. This is something that continues to happen to women. That we have against someone in power right now that there's multiple allegations against him. Not just him, but many other men in power. No, to this day, there has not been any accountability.
Figueroa noted something else, getting lost in all the conversations and questions about Chavez. The survivors. Instead of focusing on the fall of an icon, she says we should focus on asking, how did this happen? And how can we make sure it doesn't happen again? Katie Hyson, KPBS News.